to Chopped Greens. I am your host, Philip Amerine, and sitting across from me is not only Parmesan the dog, but Gary the Bad Boucher.
I haven't been called that in a long time.
Yes.
A long time.
A long fortnight ago.
Once in a different time, I was the Bad Boucher.
Now, we're talking about the movie, and it was great.
Yes.
Yes, it was great.
It.
Oh, the movie. Yes, I mean...
It was great.
Yes, the movie, yes.
Stephen King's It, the 2017 release, is what we are discussing right now.
Yes.
So that when we keep on saying it, we don't get
that's
confused.
That's my narrative on the word.
Yes.
That's about the biggest confusing factor when you're just talking about it. Unless you have a reference that you're talking about the movie,
You just got to put it in quotes.
You otherwise lose your reference, and
Yes.
you start talking about, wait, which movie did you see?
I saw it.
and it just,
Huh?
So, but we saw the movie It. Mm-hmm. And Gary, where do you want to start? Do you want to start on your overall analysis of the film, or do you want to start right off at the beginning?
Let's give some fast facts on the film, director, crew, all that stuff. Bless you. So this isn't the first time It has been adapted.
No.
First time it was with Tim Curry, and I think not 88 or early 90s, and it was a made for TV movie, and I know like a lot of people. It's very dear to their hearts, but apparently from what I've been told, that one's a lot more campy and not as good as this one. Stephen King himself has said that he liked this one better.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
He has any sense, hopefully.
This one stars Bill Skarsgård as the titular character, It.
Pennywise the clown.
Fine job. And then rounding out a long cast of ensemble kids who I wanted to talk to you about, because when I was watching this, for about the first 15 minutes, I was like, Phil is going to hate this because it's just kids. But I think that this ensemble actually did a pretty good job for being like 13.
Don't speak for me, Gary. Keep going.
Me. Finn Wolfhard from Stranger Things, freaking hilarious. Sophia Lillis, who stole every scene that she was in pretty much. Jaden Lieberher was Billy, the main kid. Lieberher. And then you had Jack Dylan Grazer, Wyatt Olaf, Chosen Jacobs, Owen Teague, and then a bunch of people who we don't know. But the point is, it's one clown and a bunch of 13-year-old kids. And then madness ensues.
Yeah, so kind of set up for our audience the opening scene and credit, because it's rather innocuous with the film. It's rather it's probably the most famous scene of the film, really. I mean, It's obviously in the commercials, so you get a sense of that too. But it's so really defines the movie as itself as a horror genre more so. That's the reason why people associate with a horror film rather than not. So open us up with it.
All right, so you have Billy and his little brother Georgie, and they are making a little wax boat to go float down the river, or not the river, float down next to the gutter on the street in a rainstorm. And Billy is sick, so Georgie just goes out to do it by himself. And of course, as you all know, the boat falls into the drain, and Georgie peers into the drain, and out pops Pennywise, the dancing clown. That's my impression of him. And he has a conversation with Pennywise, and I don't really know if this is going to come as much as a spoiler to anybody.
Well, let's talk about that as far as, especially with this film, and since we're going to be doing a horror film next week, really. A lot of the nuance of horror is the surprise of it, right? It's that build up and anticipation to, I didn't think that was going to happen, or it's a surprise.
True. The first 5 minutes of this scene surprised the heck out of me, because I was well, here we go. This is all I got to say about that.
Honestly, the reason why it surprised you is because of just how far they took it. For me, or at least from my perspective, that's what surprised me.
That's like Hollywood's kind of unspoken rule. Not even
don't touch animals or children.
Not even Game of Thrones really does kids.
Right.
So this is a little bit different.
Right. So that's where I'm going to say that, again, we're probably in these two episodes going to give off a lot of spoilers for this week and next week, especially because of horror films. Mm-hmm. It's somewhat hard when we're talking about a film in retrospect. And a lot of the film, what makes it good or bad, is in the ending and reflecting back on what it is. So that's all to say. Spoiler alert. Continue, Gary.
No, I don't think we're going to ruin too much of the movie because hopefully it's not going to come as much of a surprise. The narrative, as far as that goes, I mean, isn't fantastic. I don't think the film is fantastic in any aspect, but it's just really, really good at a lot of things. It switches its tone a lot between a horror movie with a lot of tension and a few jump scares in there to the next scene with a group of 6 13-year-old kids who are messing around at school, cussing and running around having fun. That's why I think it's Goonies is actually a really, really good comparison movie. I would say just imagine the Goonies but rated R with a lot more violence and a lot more terrifying, and that's kind of the vibe you'll get. You got anything on that?
Well, I just think that as far as the Goonies, that's a good comp in its time, because the Goonies in the time that it was released was a great film and a great. It almost paved the way for that children's group. It was in that Stand By Me phase of just those films where you could have children actors carry a film, albeit you don't want to. But it created a...
You don't want to.
I certainly don't want to. I would not be that director who goes out on that limb and goes for that headache. But you can definitely see where the Goonies is a good comparison, although it hasn't aged well.
Yeah.
That's a good comp.
As the narrative goes on, each of these kids basically has this obligatory scene where Pennywise is haunting them, and we find out that Pennywise takes the form of what these kids is most afraid of. For one kid, it's the fact that he saw his parents get burned alive. For another kid, it's a creepy picture of an old lady. For another kid, it is leprosy because he's super sick and taking pills all the time. And for Billy, it's Georgie because he's scared that Georgie is dead. So Pennywise appears to him as Georgie. And it goes on, and they're all kind of too scared to talk to each other about what's going on, and they're trying to convince themselves that it's not real. And then one day they're all hanging out, and they realize each of us has experienced the same thing, and there was one thing that was similar. It was the clown. And so then they basically hatch a plan to defeat the clown.
That's a really fascinating idea that has been explored, but the way that it was interpreted by children was definitely a better way to go about it, where the whatever it is that scares you appears to you in different, for lack of a better word, clothing and a different appearance to best scare you. And that it was a shapeshifter in that it immobilized children to not speak about it because they were either afraid that they were hallucinating or they didn't even want it to be real. Yeah. It actually, in a weird way, it offers more volition than what it has been demonstrated in previous films with adults. Yep. Because that's actually a much closer comparison to where you can genuinely see where a child, and being former children, and that's a weird statement.
Not too long ago.
Yeah, being a child at an earlier age, and really all adults, you can see where that childlike behavior is normal, where they will be quiet and allow it to happen, and thus it creates an even bigger problem. And that it was in that specific time in the 50s, 60s?
No, it was 77.
77. Yep. I think it was also appropriate that it melded well in that era, that decade.
When I was watching it, I kind of had a thought. I was like, why aren't these kids talking about what's going on? It just seems logical to me that they would be like, oh my god, guys, you'll never guess what just happened. A freaking clown just chased me through the school library. But then I saw it again, and I just realized, kind of like what you just said, either they were too scared to talk about it and admit that it was real, they didn't want to be embarrassed, and it actually, the narrative, I think, is tighter than I thought it was the first time I saw it. A lot of the stuff actually, the way that they interact makes quite a bit of sense.
And moving onward, even the cast of characters that they had, and to be honest with you, part of it is that they got lucky that they had good source material to come from with Stephen King. Stephen King, this isn't his first book to movie adaptation that he's ever had.
He's had more than any author ever.
Which is incredible considering the author of Dear John is, I'm sure, catching up quickly with
Nicholas Sparks, right?
Nicholas Sparks,
Yep.
yeah, forget that. But anyways, I think that it bodes well that this movie was good, was really good, and that it was an original of sorts, original content, and that you were able to twist what the original content was while staying pure and true to what that original story was, that you could move forward with it in a different way. That even though, and again, it's going to be a spoiler alert, but even though that there's going to be a sequel, which actually I guess is not that much.
That's been announced already.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's a surprise for those who didn't see it within the first 2 weeks.
Yeah.
For those, even though it's going to be a sequel, it felt so original for what it did towards moving a film towards children as your main base, moving a film towards original content with it being an original character, original everything, not an older franchise coming back. I realize again that there's that TV film series, but I don't know that it was as big a brand as it possibly
Absolutely
could have been.
not. Yeah.
And that it was good, and that it was a horror film that did so well. I think that bodes well for the forecast of movies moving forward. I don't think that this is going to be something along the lines of like The Mummy, where it's going to be incorporated into a future film franchise. I hope not. I certainly hope not.
No.
I hope that it either ends.
Stephen King wouldn't let that happen.
Yeah, and so that it's coming to a sequel and taking on a very Harry Potter role where they're breaking up, because this really is just one book. It just so happens that it's separated into two parts for film purposes to make it good as far as making sure that it bodes well.
Like if you were going to do his entire book justice, you couldn't do it. And this movie was 2 hours and 15 minutes. You couldn't do it in 3.5. You need 2-hour movies, because the first one is about when they're kids. Second one is 27 years later when they reconnect when they're all adults, and that really needs to be its own thing.
Let's go towards what you mentioned earlier. You said that it's not just a horror film.
No, it's more of a coming-of-age adventure film than it is a horror movie. It's really a movie about overcoming your fears and friendship and maturing at such like a crazy age. I remember 13 was like the worst age of all time, and then they throw some really scary stuff in there, and that's why I think it really rises above like what we saw like in Annabelle. A lot of the scares and it are kind of similar. They're jump scares. They're kind of creepy, but the fact that there's all this other stuff going on in the background elevates it a lot higher than just like an everyday horror movie.
And that it has such a strong narrative as the base of it. It was just so much more than a regular horror film. When you go in and we've discussed Annabelle before, it really breaks that mold of the cliches that horror films have now enslaved themselves to, that in order to be classified as a horror film that they feel obligated to have jump scares nonstop. What was in this film really, I struggled. It was just terrifying situations, but it wasn't, and it really messed with your mind and really made you think of what's your worst fear and are you afraid because they're children. I mean, it explored so many deeper concepts than just jump scares.
Oh my God, there's kids being chased by a clown, and we're going to build our narrative out of that. No, we're going to build the narrative out of the fact that these kids are all changing and getting to know each other and themselves, and what it's really about is that. And part of that, it's all a metaphor, obviously, for growing up.
And really, the biggest kudos of this film is that it was part of it, a huge chunk of it was comedic.
Yeah,
and not in a bad way.
No.
In, like Annabelle, you laugh at things, and I'm going to keep on bagging Annabelle until the
you
end
laugh
of the years.
at the stupid stuff.
Yeah, I laugh at
Annabelle,
the ludicrous.
This film tried really hard and surprisingly succeeded really well at being really, really funny.
And it didn't acknowledge it. It wasn't like there was a moment for you to breathe and really see it. I truly believe that there were a few moments of comedy that I missed because I was laughing. And a lot of those lines were executed so perfectly that they almost seemed throwaway, that they weren't just stop and stare and like acknowledge and wait for a clap and applause. It was just genuine. It felt completely authentic and genuine.
That's the thing too, because when you have a group of kids that have such perfect chemistry, just like watching them interact in the background of those scary scenes was absolutely hilarious. I mean, you were terrified, but they were so engaged in every single scene that it brought comedy out of those moments also.
We could definitely see, now, as per the clown itself, for one, there's going to be a lot of sexy Pennywise costumes this year for Halloween. So it succeeded in creating that.
It's definitely going to be a big pop culture thing, for sure.
I was actually, what I was most surprised about was that it did so well in theaters. And I don't know.
It shattered horror movie records now,
And I don't necessarily know what to attribute that to. Is it just because... It's one of a couple things. It's either because it's a clown, and that's actually been associated with fear. A lot of people have a genuine fear of clowns, and even I've heard the association of clowns that exists in the world wanted to ban this movie because they thought of what it would do towards the reputation and harming the reputation of clowns, whatever. Is it because there's a natural interest in clowns and it would have done that anyway? It would have broken records even if it wasn't a good movie? Or was it because it had that initial reaction, that initial wave of people that went to go see it, and because they validated that it was actually a better movie than what you might expect, or that they said that this is actually a good movie, not just a horror film, that if you're even at all interested in horror films whatsoever and you're just tired of horror films, this one actually lives up to the hype. It's a good one, that they brought in that second wave and third wave of people and made you even watch it twice, made me open to seeing it this week. I'm going to go see it this week with my sister because she wants to see it and my parents won't see it. So I'm having to go see it again and bring her now with it. That's a new person. It's something in there. I don't know what it is. I remember growing up like in high school and junior high, people would talk about clowns or being scared of stuff, and they would always talk about it, either the book or the old adaptation. So for people, it's always kind of been in the back of their minds, like scary clown. Oh yeah, Stephen King wrote that book, It. And so I think that when it was announced that they're making a new one, a lot of people, it was already kind of in the back of their heads. They didn't have to convince them to go see it. Also, the marketing for the movie was amazing. It was everywhere, all over Twitter, every single movie that you went to, all over TV. They have promos for it everywhere. And then I do think that word of mouth helped. I think that even if it wasn't critically well received, because it has like a 90 on Rotten Tomatoes, which surprised the heck out of me before I saw it. But even if it had a 20, I think it still would have broken these records because of the word of mouth of people going around being like, hey, you should really see it. Because I was talking to people in my life who they're like, oh, that's like a scary clown movie, I don't want to see it. I'm like, but it's not. It's not that at all. Like, you should really see it because it's really valuable as a movie. It doesn't revolve around the horror. It's not centered around the horror. It's centered around the actual story.
What's cool is that the horror is great as well. It's terrifying.
Yes, yes. It legitimately, that's the fact that it's not centered around the horror, but the horror is almost a throw-in and an add-on to the story to complement it so well. But that it's also, the horror is more, a lot of it you see it coming. And it's just such a natural buildup of, I know what's going to happen. But there's only about one time that I can even think of in my head where there was just a jump scare for jump scare's sake.
Yeah, it's really more of tension building with just terrifying visuals, not just like, oh my god, a loud sound! Oh my god, everyone in the theater's gonna jump because we flooded the speakers with a metallic screeching. It was more of really uncomfortable feeling tension.
I think we've pushed it far back enough that we can actually talk about it.
What?
No, let me count here. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 children before Bill Skarsgård, Pennywise, who are headlining this movie.
Okay, but like, what's your definition of a children? Because these are all teenagers.
Children. Okay, just child actors.
Yes, not adults, kids. Yeah. So I'll admit, like, the first two scenes of the movie have a lot of kids who aren't in the main cast with like speaking parts, and they were pretty bad. And the dialogue and the acting feels weird for like the first 10 minutes. You're like, oh no, this is gonna turn out bad. And then once it gets going, once all of the main characters get together, I actually think that they do a really fine job. As far as development and characterization goes, not really. I mean, all of them was an archetype. They did fine representing their archetype. I think that the girl who played Bev, what's her name here? Sophia Lillis, far and away the best one out of all of these kids.
Also the oldest.
Yeah, but she's only like 14, you know? I mean, still.
No, I know.
But everyone else was just kind of like, yeah, like, you're funny, or you're serious, or you're Jewish, or, you know, not much beyond that.
But what I was going to say...
Yeah, sorry. Go for it.
I got to hand it to them. I like the kids. It was about 50-50.
I literally went on that long rant because I thought that you were going to be like, and I hated these kids.
Well, I will say there were a couple where there were just moments of, well, I don't understand what they're
kind of
doing
flat,
here.
but
in a 50-50 role, I liked the person who played. I'm sorry. I liked Jaden Lieber.
Right for Billy. Yeah.
Sophia Lillis. I liked obviously Finn Wolfhard, and I liked Jack Grazer.
Who was the kid who played the fat kid? What was his name?
Jeremy Taylor.
He was great.
He was great.
He was fantastic.
Add him to that list. So
New Kids on the Block, man. That was great.
New Kids on the Block. And again, there were some. The biggest boon for that young cast was that even the necessarily not good kids of the group were just average. They weren't bad.
Yeah.
They were just not as good as the others. And what they created was genuine chemistry that made me invested into each one of them. They each had their completely authentic and specified personalities that were so clear, that were so well played out, that I felt like I knew who they were, even though I might not know their names. They were fantastically portrayed, and I actually, unlike a lot of other films that have children or even horror films, I had a genuine connection to each one of them because I knew what their story and what their personal strife was in this world, along with the horror element of the clown. I mean, there was the fact that each one of them had their own struggle, that each one of them had something that they were fighting in their personal lives that really antiquated towards them saying no to bullies and no to being bullied around. Besides the horror, I mean, it's just, it was such a beautiful blend.
That's why I think that those scenes, like, after the first 20 minutes of the movie, they do like 6 scenes in a row, which is just each kid encountering Pennywise in a different way. And for a little bit, I was like, I don't know how I like that, because like just like throwing together a montage of information like that sometimes doesn't work. Like with Suicide Squad, the first 20 minutes of the movie, it's like the same thing. Each character gets their own thing, and it was awful. But like you said, with this movie, I really think it worked because you make that connection with them. It's funny, it's terrifying, and you understand where they're coming from, what they're going through, and that's why scenes like that don't usually work, I think worked out in this movie a little better. And
another thing is that they felt like actual kids.
Yeah.
There was cussing.
They cussed. They did things that kids do. They talked and they thought like kids do. It's like how all 13-year-olds are, you know.
And they explored the they explored the elements of love at their age. And
there was something that I loved was how real it was with them. You know, I'm sure if you go back and you watch the one in 1980 whatever with Tim Curry, the kids are probably like these sweet little no-nothings. And
right.
these kids are running around town on their bikes, getting beat up, throwing rocks at each other, cussing, trying to make out with girls. Like, this is how kids are, you know. And I like that.
I think it's so funny that Tim Curry was the original clown. It's such a... Tim Curry just keeps coming back every once in a while just for whatever reason of being relevant again, and it's funny. So overall, I really, surprisingly, dare I say, loved this movie.
Look at that. Is it gonna be in your top 10?
I cannot, of the year or ever? No.
Of the year. You think it'll make your top 10?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
I do. I really
It'll
do.
put right there.
I'm trying to think of like what would be in the top 5. It's in running for the top 5. I don't know.
You got the Big Sick in there.
Logan. Planet of the Apes.
Oh god, War was so good.
More of the Planet of the Apes. Mm-hmm. I still got to determine on how I feel about Detroit. Mm-hmm. It wasn't bad by any means. It's crazy. All right, and then plus we got a lot of other good movies coming up. Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yep.
Was good, and then now we've got Thor. But next week we got Mother, another horror film.
Yep.
Can't wait for that one. Because I like Javier Bardem. He's really like a genuinely good actor.
Have you seen those trailers? What were you doing in their luggage?
What were you doing in their luggage?
His voice is so deep and Spanish. It's fantastic.
His face is an interesting, like, it looks like it's smushed on.
Yeah, it's his nose and like the way it connects to his head. It's just like one thing. It's weird. Sorry, Javier, if you're listening.
I'm not hating on it. It's just, I'm just noting.
Interesting face you have, sir.
Bravo on your face. All right, we'll move on to Give Me 5 right after this.
Did you want the rating out of 100? Did you want to throw that in there?
Right after this is what I meant, yeah. So, like, let's do the rating out of 100 right there. I just don't want to... Okay, anyways, continue. Yes,
I'm going to have you go first this time.
Okay, my Boucher bars for this film. I'm going to go a full... I'm going to go with a full... 93?
93?
Yeah.
I'm going to go with an 87.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where does it fall down below for you?
When the effects changed from practical all to computer generated, it was kind of jarring, and I wasn't in love with that in the climax. Also, while all the kids, when they were together, hit all the moments that they had to, I think it would have been even more powerful if all of the narrative would have kept up, because it lagged at one point or another. That's what kept it from 90 or above, but it is a terrific movie. Those are seriously nitpicky things about the movie. Like, you should go see it, because it'll really surprise you how good it is.
All right. And it's just 93. I mean, the fact that it went outside its genre and was just genuinely good is why I liked it. So, all right. So now it's time for Give Me 5.
Give me 5.
After this short commercial break.
Do 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 do.
Hello and welcome back to a salty edition of Give Me 5. We opened up the crackers in that break.
Saltines!
Some saltine crackers. You took the peanut butter route. I'm just going the regular saltine. But I do have some water in case my mouth gets dry.
Which it will.
Which it will. Come here, bud.
Come on, Parmesan. Gotta take care of the pup.
He likes to be involved in the show. But he also likes food, so I don't know what he wants. Anyways, this is part of the show, though, of Give Me 5. The part of the show where I've got 5 questions for you, you got 5 questions for me. We don't know what they are, but we'll answer them honestly. Honestly, never falsely. Would you care to go first or second this week?
You know what? I'll let you go first for your ratings, so I'll go first for the Give Me 5.
Fantastic.
Philip, this one's simple but elegant and very insightful to who you are. It is a page-to-screen adaptation. It was very good. What is your favorite page-to-screen adaptation?
Page-to-screen. Do I have to have read the original content? Or?
Nope. Just a movie.
Just the movie.
What's your favorite movie that is based off a book?
Man.
For me, obviously Lord of the Rings.
Oh, that's
Easy.
right, yeah. You know, nothing's really coming to me outside of this one, so I'll just say the first thing that popped into my head. I liked Hearts of Atlantis.
Hearts of Atlantis. I haven't heard of that.
It's with Anthony Hopkins. It's another Stephen King novel.
Really?
The book is almost a mini book series of within one book. It has multiple stories within one book, and Hearts of Atlantis is just one story featured in there.
Dang.
It came out. The movie came out. It was with Anthony Hopkins. Or who was Hannibal Lecter? Mm-hmm. Yeah, Anthony Hopkins. Okay. And I actually really liked it. It was an interesting film. So I'm sure there's something else that I'm probably going to get ripped for later. But
I'll put that on my list.
In lieu of something else, I'll say that. At North Farmington High in Michigan,
Yes.
there's a senior tradition in which students get to take their ID photo in whatever pop culture costume they desire. You have seen this. The creativity and execution alone will make you wish you lived in this district. One girl dressed up as the child who discovers cotton candy for the first time. Mm-hmm. We've all seen that baseball gif.
Yep.
GIF. Another boy dressed up as Trump himself. While the creme de la creme is one girl who dressed up as the guy with the tattoo, no regrets. I loved it. I died. Gary.
Yep.
If you could actually become any character in pop culture, who would you become for a day?
For a day.
What?
Okay. So this is a real person who has reached pop culture character status.
Okay.
I've always wanted to know what it's like to be a girl. I always want to know what it's like to be a very sexy girl. So
right. Is
I'm
it twerk girl for the Chargers?
It's not. It is Marilyn Monroe.
Oh.
She is a person who has solidified herself, and I would just want to be Marilyn for a day, just to see.
Yeah, you want to be in a coffin for a day?
Well, like Marilyn in like 1956 or something. She was at peak Marilyn. Yeah.
Peak Marilyn. All right. Gary.
So
it's your turn.
Yeah, I was like, you got another one? So boxer Jake LaMotta died. The guy who Raging Bull was based off of.
Okay.
Was a boxer back in the heyday. Raging Bull is one of the most prestigious sports dramas of all time, and I have a list here of the highest earning sports dramas of all time. I'm gonna scramble them for you. See if you can put them together. All right.
All right.
I'm just gonna start giving them to you. $1 Million Baby.
Oh yes. Is Anne Hathaway? Hilary Swank.
Hilary Swank.
That's an Office reference, by the way.
For those of you who don't know, you uncultured swines. The Fighter with Mark Wahlberg.
All right, The Fighter.
Rocky IV.
Rocky IV. Do you happen to remember which one that was?
I've only seen the first one and then Creed. So, Rocky III.
All right. Rocky III.
The Blind Side.
Got it.
Seabiscuit.
Seabiscuit.
42.
Okay.
Rocky. Just the first one.
The first Rocky.
Did I give you Creed yet? Creed?
You have not given me Creed.
Creed.
Okay.
And Remember the Titans. That should be 10, right?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I got 10.
Yes. Can you order them?
So these are the actual top 10.
This is top 10. You see if you can just get like top 5. Any order.
Any order.
For the
All right,
top 5.
top 5. Creed's gonna be in there. Whoa.
I know. Weird, right?
All right, then Rocky is gonna be in there.
Yep, number 5 is Rocky.
It's not 42. I'm gonna go $1 Million Baby with that Oscar win. Even Parmesan.
Even Parmesan was like, no.
Let's go Blindside.
Number 1.
Wow.
I know, surprised me too.
All
I think
right.
that numbers 2 and 3 are gonna surprise you.
All right, let's go with Rocky 3.
Rocky 3 is number 3.
right on the money. So I got 3 out of the 5. I'm gonna go with
Trust your instincts.
Yeah.
My son. Trust.
Remember the Titans.
Oh, number 6.
Oh, just out. So I've got 1 strike left here. I'm gonna go down with the ship. I'm gonna go with The Fighter.
That is number 10, all the way at the bottom of the list. I want to hear it.
Don't you tell me Rocky 4's in there.
Number
Don't
1.
you do it.
Number 1, The Blind Side. Number 2, Rocky 4. Number 3, Rocky 3. Number 4, Seabiscuit. Number 5, Rocky. And then you got Remember the Titans, Creed, $1 Million Baby, 42, and The Fighter.
Where's Seabiscuit on that list?
It was number 4.
Oh, that was nowhere on mine.
Yeah, right?
All right. Good one there, Gary. I don't know if you follow baseball, though. But the Cleveland Indians lost this week, ending a glorious winning streak at 22. It means the Indians have the longest win streak in Major League Baseball now since like the bubonic plague, since baseball is as old as time itself. So, Gary, in honor of the win streak, I'm going to give you a couple scenarios, and I want you to tell me if they went shorter or longer than 22. So the over or under, all right?
Okay.
Number is 22 again. 22. All right. The longest win streak in the NBA, over or under 22? Over. The Los Angeles Lakers.
33, right?
The longest record winning streak in NBA history. From 1971 to 1972 season. How many Category 5 hurricanes have hit the Atlantic Basin, which just means the U.S., essentially, since 1851? Over, under 22?
Over.
32 Category 5s have been recorded in the Atlantic Basin since 1851. I hope you know your Steve Nash info as much as you say you do. Steve Nash was in the 1996 NBA draft. Was he taken over or under the 22nd pick overall?
Under, number 15.
Number 15 by...
The Phoenix Suns.
Yeah. It was so obvious that you had to think about it.
I was like, wait, was this a trick question?
How many seasons have the Diamondbacks been in existence? Over or under 22 years?
Under. Right.
Yes, under. Any idea how many they're at?
18?
19. Diamondbacks came into existence in the 1998 season.
Okay.
Finally, Apple was created over under 22 years ago.
Over.
Completely over. April 1st of 1976.
I saw the movie Jobs.
Yeah, just making sure.
Come on
All right,
now.
Your turn.
So, this is another one. I'm gonna have you throwing out some guesses. Obviously, it plays on a lot of people's fear of clowns. I don't know what the actual phobia is, but I have the list here of the top 10 phobias in America.
Okay.
I just want you to throw out like what you think would be on there. I'm gonna tell you if it's on there or not. Just give me like 10 or 15 guesses. Phobias.
All right. Let's go with the scared of heights.
Yes, acrophobia, number 3.
Let's go with scared of the dark.
Not on there. Nope.
Scared of clowns is on there? You're giving me that? Or
scared of clowns is not on there, yep.
Okay, so then I'm going to go with scared of death.
Nope. Think just like really specific phobias.
Okay, then scared of spiders.
Yes, number 1, arachnophobia.
Scared of drowning?
Nope.
Scared of the water?
Nope.
Scared of... I don't even know. Scared
It's
of...
weird.
Yeah,
it's hard.
Scared of little things?
Like how little?
Like really small?
Like, yeah, you're on the right track here. Like things that can infect your system and...
Yeah, scared of getting sick.
Scared of germs.
Scared of germs.
Misophobia, yeah, that's number 10. You want me to just give them to you?
Yeah, I'm drawing a blank now.
Well, you got number 1 and number 10 and number 3. So we have arachnophobia, spiders. Ophidiophobia, which is snakes. Acrophobia. Aerophobia, which is fear of flying.
Yes.
Number 5 is cynophobia, which is a fear of dogs.
Yeah, right now I'm scared of him because he's getting on them.
Astrophobia, the fear of thunder, lightning, and storms.
Okay.
Trypanophobia, the fear of injections. And then they just have a general social phobia.
Scared of people.
Agoraphobia, the fear of being alone in a place where escape might be difficult. And misophobia, the fear of germs.
Now, which one was the one that's scared of dogs?
Cynophobia.
He knew I was talking about it. All right, cynophobia. Well, Gary, speaking of cynophobia, I got Parmesan the dog, a Denver Broncos jersey.
Look at that, he's a true fan.
So he can fully support the Broncos nation, albeit mostly silently. What is your opinion on dogs dressing up? And is there anything you would dress your dog up with other than the dog?
I have 2 dogs. Gandalf, who is a little bit too big for most dog costumes, but I also have a pug mix, who's perfect because she's so ugly and fat, but yet cute. I love dressing her up. Last year, got her a Princess Leia costume for Halloween.
Oh my god.
She hated it, but it was amazing. I want to dress her up. I want to do like a partner costume with her, where like maybe I will be Han and she'll be Chewbacca or something like that. Like something really nerdy.
The
She would be Leia.
Falcon.
Han, Leia, and Chewbacca, or the Millennium Falcon.
Yeah, have Maddie just be like the third wheel.
Just sit on her, yeah.
Me and Ruby have been toying around with the idea of him being either Batman or Alfred.
Well, please do both.
Yeah.
Batman would be so cute.
I think Batman would be funny, and then the rest of us just being accompanying characters. Anyway.
Right.
But that's about as far as I go. As soon as we get into like dog clothes of like sweaters and like
Maddie is obsessed with the freaking dog sweaters. She wants them so bad.
I know. All right, your turn.
All right, this one's an easy one, but it's gonna tell us a lot about you.
Okay.
Pennywise the clown is chasing you down a back alleyway. What does he shapeshift into?
Probably shapeshifts into like some sort of torture chair.
A torture chair. Oh my god.
Because I'm like so scared of being tortured.
Dude, I am too. I've done like all this. Sometimes I will torture myself by looking at like old medieval torture methods, and I'm like, I hope that never happens to me.
Some of them I'm not too afraid of, but like as far as like the Chinese water torture, I think I could withstand that for a little bit. But outside of that, like as soon as they start, clipping stuff off, I'm done. I'm out. Oh, all right. And what was the one about? Which fear was it for the air?
For flying?
Yeah.
Aerophobia.
All right, well, I've got Uberphobia for you right now because it's Uber Facts!
Oh my god.
Part of the show, I've got five sets of facts for you, Gary. One of these facts within there, thank you. One of these facts within there is completely false. I made it completely up, and I need you to tell me which one of them I made up. Which one's the fake fact?
You pulled
Hashtag
out,
fake fact.
Pulled out your assophobia.
Oh. Okay, so fact set number 1. Here we go. We're scoring. You did pretty well last week, right?
3 out of 5.
3 out of 5. 3 out of 5. That's really good for you. That's a good week. Here we go. Those with a large pinky toe are more headstrong than those with smaller toes. Fact number 2. Walking in the woods boosts your immune system. Fact number 3. We change our voice when we talk to people we like. Which fact is the fake fact?
The first one, because how the heck would they even measure that? First one. That is a Phil fact.
That is a Phil fact.
I knew it.
You're on the board.
Very philosophical.
Way to go.
1 out of one
You're
for 1.
Perfect so far. Okay, second set. Steve Jobs held important business meetings while walking, knowing that brains worked better while the body was active. Fact number 2, grasshoppers can eat their weight in grass if they are pregnant. And fact number 3, parents who lick clean their babies' pacifiers instead of using waters actually help their children strengthen their immune system. Which one's the fake fact?
That's disgusting, but it's probably true because of people. I'm going to go with number 2 as the fake fact. That's a Phil fact.
I thought I was going to get you with the babies because that's so weird. You're 2-0.
Oh, yes.
The first one you knew was good with the Steve Jobs movie?
Yeah, no, I'm pretty sure that's how I knew that. I was like, you know what? I think I've heard that somewhere. Probably from Aaron Sorkin. Yep.
Aaron Sorkin. All right, here we go, 2-0. 27% of people polled in the U.S. think that dogs put on a charade and can actually talk to humans.
No, come on.
That's fact number 2.
No,
That's fact
please.
number 1. Fact number 2. Writers are 121% more likely to suffer from bipolar disorder than those working in uncreative fields. And fact number 3. Little people were well respected in ancient Egypt, and some were considered gods. Which one's the fake fact?
Number 1.
People can actually talk, or humans can, or dogs can actually talk.
I'm keeping my faith in humanity and hoping that that's not true because it should be 100% because they can't talk. So number 1.
I was hoping that I could get you out because the other ones were good, but so far you're 3-0.
You're 3, dude. Oh my god, this is gonna be legendary. Oh my.
Legend. Wait for it. Humans don't understand competitive behavior until around the age of 4. Fact number 1. Fact number 2, pulling an all-nighter makes you buy more food the next day. And fact number 3, beer is healthier for you than a grilled cheese kids meal at Sonic. Dairy.
This one's a tough one. Give me the first one again.
First one, humans don't understand competitive behavior until around the age of 4. His perfect streak is on the line.
Give me number 3 one more time.
Beer is healthier for you than a grilled cheese kids meal at Sonic.
That one.
That's the fake one.
Yes.
That's the fake one.
Just a fake one.
That is the fake one.
Oh my god!
You are so close.
New record, 4 for 4. Even if I lose, it's a new record.
It's a new record.
Oh my god!
You're pushing records, pushing the limit. Here we go. Last one. Fact number 1. This is my favorite.
5 for 5.
You're not getting this one because this one's hilarious. Oh my gosh! Yes. Okay. Fact number 1. Those who text a lot are more likely to have sex. Fact number 2. The number 1 word written in the Bible is holy, being mentioned 3,090 times in the King James Version. And fact number 3, a gut feeling is a chemical signal that your stomach creates to warn the brain of danger. Which one is the fake
Number 2.
fact?
Number 2 is the fake fact.
Wait, what did you just say?
Number 2 is the fake fact about the Bible.
Now, I just want to put this out there. I have a hard time texting you to get you to confirm which day it is when we're doing the podcast. With that being said, I want to restate fact number 1. Those who text a lot are more likely to have sex.
It doesn't apply to me.
I was just saying, I have that knowledge in me.
So you're suggesting that my relationship would be better if I texted you back more. Like, I know I'm a bad communicator, man. I'm trying to work on it.
Holy, that is the King James Version. That's a lengthy version, and you've underestimated words before. And number 3, a gut feeling. That's a chemical scientific reaction.
Number 2 is a fake fact.
You're sticking with it.
Yes.
Yes, it is.
Oh my god!
He's perfect.
5 for 5?
5.
Dude, you don't realize how big of a deal this is.
Did I even get you to shift or waver, or did I just confirm what you?
No, you did.
Okay.
I mean, but I was like, no, I'm going with it. Ironically enough, I'm going. That one was tough. I'm going with my gut because I'm pretty sure I have read somewhere that the number 1 word in the Bible is like he.
Okay.
I think.
All right. Yeah, I switched out a number. I think 3,090 times is the word Lord in the Old Testament.
Okay.
So, all right.
Shifty, I see.
Back to you.
I have kind of a similar game. It is called Stephen Facts about Stephen King.
Okay, yes.
And mine is the opposite. I have 1 true one and 2 of them that I have pulled out of my butt. And you must seek out. You've got to sink like organic peanut butter.
Yes.
I'm just kidding.
That's nuts.
You have to seek out the correct one.
Okay.
Are you ready?
I am so incredibly ready.
First set. Stephen King suffers from the fear of the number 13.
Okay.
2, he is from Portland, Oregon.
Okay.
3, his favorite movie is It's a Wonderful Life.
That's just funny because we just reviewed the movie It from him, and It's a Wonderful Life is just funny. So which one's the? I'm trying to determine which one's the true fact.
Yes.
What was the first one? One more time.
He suffers from the fear of the number 13.
Wow, that sounds oddly familiar. I think that's correct. Either him or R.L. Stine have that or something. I'm gonna go. It's a Wonderful Life would be his favorite movie. I'm gonna go with the first one.
Good choice. He does suffer from a fear of the number
Okay.
13. He was from Portland, Maine.
Oh, okay.
And his favorite movie, I have no idea.
No idea. All right.
Number 2. He has said that his favorite country to visit is Romania because of the history and the creepy castles. He doesn't remember writing most of his novels in the 80s because of his debilitating alcoholism.
Okay.
3, he doesn't know how to drive because he prefers public transportation. He never got a driver's license.
Debilitating does not sound like a word you would use, so I'm gonna go with 2. Alcoholism.
Is the true one?
Yeah, it's the true one.
Dang, you're right.
Not wrong.
So what happened was that The Onion wrote an article like obviously a satire article saying Stephen King didn't remember writing The Mist or some novel in the 80s. And he tweeted, he was like, no, you're right. And he wrote this article about how he doesn't remember writing anything in the 80s because he drank so much alcohol. It's just really sad.
Fun fact, yeah. Oh yeah, The Mist. I forgot that was one of his too.
Yep.
I've heard about the ending of that one. I know what the ending is, but I've heard it was actually a pretty good movie.
Yeah.
Anyways, continue.
Number 3. His favorite movie adaptation of any of his books is Stand By Me. Number 2. He is an avid Premier League fan, and his favorite team is Juventus. Number 3, he has said that he would be interested in his body being cryogenically frozen if the process becomes available during his lifetime.
Oh, I don't think if you're somebody who writes and you would give your opinion on which one's your favorite, they're all your favorite. I'm gonna say the cryogenically frozen one. That sounds like
Sure?
writer. Yeah.
I pulled that one out of my butt. His favorite is Stand By Me.
Okay.
That's his favorite, yeah.
I'm sure this was asked before it.
Yes.
All right, next one.
That's all of them.
Oh, that's all of them. Okay.
Set of 3. 2 for 3. It's
Fantastic.
good.
All right.
You know you're king.
Is that your last? Okay. Gary, it is fantasy football season, and as such, I am the commissioner of one league, and it is the absolute hardest thing to nonchalantly ask for money from people who you genuinely like. Because you're like, hey, football league fee, you wanna pay up now or pay later? Oh yeah, that's cool. No, pay me next year. That's good. But what is the most you've ever let someone borrow? And what is the most amount of money you would ever let someone borrow from you or forgive? To where, like, if they borrow $1,000 from you, you're like, you know what, just whatever. Just forget about it.
What's the biggest amount of money that I've ever lent somebody or given someone or whatever? I try not to go too big with that because I think money and friends is kind of a slippery slope, and money can kind of mess with a lot of friendships. That being said, I bought someone a concert ticket for like $90 one time, and I didn't make them pay me back.
Yeah.
$90.
I kind of live on that rule of never let somebody borrow more money than what you feel the friendship is worth.
Yep.
And really, more so than that, it's not even that you have to dictate that. It's if you flip it on them and say, you know what, if they don't ever pay me back, am I cool with that? Or ending the friendship and seeing how much they value that friendship.
That's why just like money, like with me and my girlfriend, I obviously pay for a lot of stuff for her, but like as far as friends, I'm like, nope, I don't want to talk about money.
Yeah, that's the other thing too. I mean, I think it varies differently to family.
To acquaintances. Yep.
Yes. Parmesan, how much money would you let me borrow? Just a couple bones. All right. Next week we have Mother, Javier Bardem,
and Jennifer
Lawrence. Yes, it's an interesting mix there. I don't even really know that much about it. It's just supposed to be a horror film, right?
Yep. Looks like it'll be like a home invasion thriller. So there's something, maybe a little bit more. I don't know. Check it out.
Mother, is it Mother or just Mother exclamation point? I think it's Mother exclamation.
Mother exclamation point. Yes.
Interesting choice there.
And Aronofsky said he put that in there because of the climax of the film. So I'm interested to see why it deserves an exclamation point.
All right, maybe it's just because it's so thrilling that he just
Let's hope so.
Mother. Well, I was like continue the word Mother.
Oh, I got you.
Maybe.
I was doing more of like the mother.
Yeah, Mother.
Mother, please.
So, great movie, It, and moving on to Mother. For
Gary Boucher.
I'm Philip Amerine. Thank you for listening to Chopped Greens. Of course, you can always listen to us on YouTube, all of our archived episodes, as well as our new episodes. And as always, bye.